Hello, and welcome to Postcards from a Soul and Her Human. I'm the human, Gina. If you're back, welcome back. If you're new, I appreciate you joining me. I do want to apologize to anyone who listened to my last podcast for the deep sighs, which I didn't realize came across so powerfully. Just a testament to how really the low energy I was in when I did that podcast, it's almost kind of otherworldly. Until I listened back, I didn't realize how incredibly tired I sounded. So forgive me for that. But I'm trying to adhere to the idea that these podcasts are just what they are. And I'm not going to judge or manage too much how they come across. And I think that's important for me in order to deliver what I'm meant to deliver here, which is just the truth about not only what I'm speaking, but about who I am and what I'm doing. So, forgive me if those sighs were mind blowing in the physical sense. I apologize for that. So it is wintertime, and we have had our first snowfall in Northeast Ohio, and it's actually quite beautiful. It's not a lot, but it's our first little bit of a ground covering, and it just kind of shifts me into a state of mind. I don't think it's something that you really think about, or I don't anyway. Just of winter, of a time of dormancy, a time of um, where we go to sleep, in a sense, and a time for the earth to go to sleep and prepare for the spring where everything is renewed. So the winter is an important time. It is, although at times it can be gray and it can feel like it's going to go on forever. The seasons pass quickly. These days the winters pass as quickly as the summers do, in my opinion. And so I know that it's all short lived. So I try to enjoy it and not worry that I'm going to be in a low state of mind or think of it in a negative way. So as I was sitting in my chair looking out my back window this morning, I was thinking about these things and how the wintertime is really an opportunity to rest our hearts. This for me anyway. I can't tell you what to do or what you should be doing, but for me, thinking of winter is, I think of dormancy. I think of really letting go and just allowing what's already inside of me to seed and to get ready for rebirth. And I feel like that's where I am in my life and in my journey right now. And it's kind of fitting that we had our first snowfall, and I woke up to it this morning because obviously this is what's coming up. So this dormancy for me is a lot more. Um, it it encompasses more than just a season. And I guess it really, if you look at it from the grand perspective, it's all seasons. But for the time I am in my life right now, where I came through this healing period, which I've documented pretty well, and I came through this to this time in my life where I am really kind of just looking from this really high perspective at everything. My life, the world, humanity, the cosmos, everything. I feel like I'm just in this space of wide perspective where it's kind of easy to see everything now that I've kind of climbed the mountain, I guess maybe is a way to put it. And uh, I've really discovered through my life and through you know the healing that I've gone through, the awakening that I've gone through, that perspective is really the key to living this life without too much bothering us. Being able to see things as they are and not through the lens of our pain or our disappointment or of the mask that we wear, the mask that we put on, the facade, because we don't want people to see who we are, because we don't know who we are. Everything is skewed when we look through that lens. We don't really see what's real. And I think when you go through this time period of rebirth, which I went through, it just gives you a new perspective. You're able to see, from a place of understanding and of acceptance. And when you do accept yourself, you're able to really see things as they are. And I think that's the most important thing that I learned, is that, things aren't what we think they are. And our mind, our tired mind, it only allows us to see what resonates with our heart or our energy. And so we miss a lot. We miss everything, actually, because we are only really connecting with the things that support our façade or support the story we tell ourselves or others. And we end up missing the big picture, which is really that this life is it's a school. I mean, it's a training ground. We're here to learn. Our souls have a mission. We each do, not just me, not just anyone who's had an awakening. We all have a mission here, whether it's for personal evolution or for something bigger. And we don't get to see that when we are so bogged down with the detail of our lives. When we're so stuck in the minutia of our lives, we don't understand that we have this perspective that we're missing. So, when I'm looking now out at the world and at my life, I've really gained a comfort with the low periods or the winter periods. And this is another winter period that's coming. And I start to really understand how important they are. How I think I talked a little bit last time about ebb and flow, and how important the breath of life is, and that our energy breathes, our bodies breathe, the earth breathes. The seasons are another way of looking at breathing. And you breathe in the winter, and you breathe out in the spring. Like you breathe in, you know. In this dormancy, so it can kind of be reborn, and then we breathe out this rebirth. And so you can look at the seasons that way, everything. And it's if you kind of look at things that in that way, it's easy to get comfortable with the ebb and flow of our lives. So from this perspective, I'm comfortable with that now. Winters used to make me feel lonely, especially when I was alone. Last winter's a good example. And but this year I don't feel that way. I feel solitude for sure. But there's a big difference between being lonely and being alone. And I've always kind of known this without really knowing why I've known this, but I really have embraced this lately because I'm alone, and I'm 60 years old, and I don't know for sure what's coming. And um, but I have an idea from my soul family and from what I'm being told. But this really made me think about the difference between loneliness and being alone. And I think when you're lonely, you're looking for something, you know, externally. You want someone to fill a void. And when that someone doesn't fill the void, we find other things to fill the void. I've talked about this too. We overeat, we overindulge, we invest in toxic behavior, toxic relationships, or anything to keep us busy to fill the void. Shopping, is another big one. I used to be an estate liquidator, and we cleaned out many, many homes of people who passed away, and where you couldn't walk through their house because there was so much stuff. And they had just, you can tell the last years of their lives were spent just filling their homes with stuff as a way to feel some sort of connection to something, the way to fill a void. That's the only way to put it. And I used to make this joke with one of the girls that worked with me, and I used to say, we're the void fillers. We sell things to fill people's voids. And we would laugh about it, but it's really true. And I can't tell you how many homes we cleaned out where you can only walk through a pathway because there was stuff just piled on the floors and the furniture. And if you've seen the show Hoarders, you know what I'm talking about. But it is it's a way that people fill a void. And shopping isn't the only way, or collecting things, collections and things that we keep because we want to connect with something. We want to feel something. And So we look for that externally, and so loneliness is that lack. It's a feeling of lack, that we don't have what we need to feel whole. So we look for something outside of ourselves to do that for us, and it's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we fear being alone, we become lonely, and then we are lonely. It's the way it works. So, um, at this time of my life where I am alone, I don't feel lonely, and it's kind of neat to distinguish it, because I think loneliness is something you feel deep inside, and it is not a lack from without, or from your external life. It's a lack of connection to your own within. And so when we're in these gray or low periods, we expect to feel bad. We expect that we'll have to recover, quote unquote, or something will pull us out, or we'll have to feel better. And I think, it's okay to think of it that way. But it doesn't have to be that way, because the low periods can really signify to us a time of needed dormancy, or a needed ebb in our life, in our breath, in our energy, in our quests, in our building of our lives, and we need to rest. It's a time to rest, and I've really been able to finally embrace that. And it's funny, because I'm being told pretty consistently by my spirit team, through the tarot readings that I get, that it's time for me to just rest, that I don't have to produce, and uh, I have to have faith that what's coming to me is part of my soul's mission, and I'm not to worry or concern myself with that the universe is knitting together this path for me to follow. And until this path emerges, I am to just be patient and to do what my heart wants to do. And that is a tough concept. It's so easy to hear the words, do what your heart wants, but it can be so difficult to really put that into play in your world, in your life, because we're so conditioned to produce. And we're so conditioned to produce that we have this ideal of our lives of being this, we're going to build this place that we can live and be joyful and enjoy life and really live. And what we end up doing is we build this ideal. We work so hard to build it that we don't ever get to enjoy it. So I was just reading this. We walk into soulless buildings 5 days a week, uh, trying to build a life so we can be happy, and we forget to be happy. We never get there. We just exhaust ourselves instead. And I think that's important to remember, that that exhaustion is self-inflicted. And I'm not saying it's our fault, because it's our conditioning. We're conditioned by our parents, by what we see, but by the media, by advertising, that the harder you work, the more effort you make, the more, happiness you can have. And it just doesn't work that way. And, if you embrace only the external world as your source of joy and of happiness, and of finding, quote unquote, you know, the best you, it just isn't there. It's not there. The external world is important for so many things, for cultivating relationships with people, so we can learn about ourselves, and we can love, and we can express ourselves with these incredible bodies, which we've been given as, a way to experience life. I talked about this a couple times before. This human suit in this 3D density, it gives us this sensory experience where, we're these ethereal beings. We're made of light and love, really. And when we come into this earthly suit, we are here because we want to experience this earthly plane. So I won't go too far off the course with that again, but that sensory experience is so important, because it is why our souls are here. And it helps our souls learn. And then in that learning, we evolve and we become old souls. And then we become graduates of human school, and we become mentors or sages or whatever. But anyway, my point here is that this experience is important for us, but it's not all there is. We are this whole other being. And I think I described, at the end of my last podcast is to picture yourself as this blue light, and then this, some semi-human form, and then yourself as a human, and push them together, and that's what we are. So it's really remembering that blue light energy, entity or being that we are. And when we only focus on the external world, we only get the external experience, and it becomes heavy, and we don't have a way to assimilate, and we get weighed down, and we drop, and we fall, and we can't get up. So, and then we look for ways to feel again, and that's when we fill the void, all that stuff. So, you know, um, I was talking about the difference between loneliness and being alone. Now that I've kind of discovered this vastness within me, this soul energy, not only has it opened up a whole nother world, and I mean that there's not even a correct word for that. Another world is not correct. It's another universe. It's everything. It was described to me recently as the void. And it's a place where we have to really learn to relax and to rest and to not know what's coming. Because in that not knowing, we allow whatever is right, whatever is meant for us to come. If we need to know, we need to control. And that's our mind telling us that we have to create and produce in order for this to come. And my experience has been the absolute opposite. It's when I broke in half and my energy broke and I was unable to do anything, is when I really learned what allowing the universe to provide for you means. Uh, and it's funny because I'm watching a show on TV right now that one of the characters is going through a time in his life where he wants to learn his purpose. And he is near an American Indian uh, lifestyle, or people in his life are American Indians, and they're teaching him to go through this. It's the same thing I went through, but it's different. It's a 4-day purge. It's sitting in the elements with no water or food, and until your body or till your mind gives up, till your mind stops trying to figure out how to get through it. How am I going to eat? How am I going to drink? How am I going to survive? Until your sensibilities fall off, until your ego exhausts itself, until you just give up and surrender to death, really is what you're meant to do. Because without water for 4 days, we're meant to die. I think we can only go 3 days without water. So my point is that it requires us to let go of everything we think we know. It requires us to let go of our need to control, of our mind's need to create our joy, because it cannot do it. So we're asked to, and in this TV show, he's meant to allow that all to fall away or break away, because the only way to do that is to suffer, is to our body suffers through the lack of food and water and exposure to the elements, and in that suffering we let go of the need. And it's as simple as that. And once we let go of that, it's almost like pushing all the garbage off of this jewel that's underneath it. And once you open that jewel case, that portal is open now to the vastness of your inside, of your soul. But you cannot get there until you get all the garbage off of it. And that's what I talked about in the last podcast, the purging, the emotional broom, the emotional baggage handler. That's what that whole podcast was about, was removing the garbage or the waste or the debris from our energy so we can get to what's underneath of it, which is our true form, our true selves, our energetic selves. The body, or the part of us that is animating this body. So this purging of our ego and of our need is what this whole exercise, uh that's what the result is we are left with just our surrender to the universe. And in that surrender, we are able to be informed by the cosmos, by our soul, of who we are and why we're here. And when we get that gift of our soul, of access to our soul, I really shouldn't put it that way. It's not access to our soul. It's our souls really encompassing who we are. And we allow our souls to become who we are instead of our minds and our bodies. We then achieve this perspective. And this perspective allows us to see everything. And in this perspective, we are able to uh, differentiate our human selves from our energetic selves. We are able to distinguish our actions in our mind, in our need from our soul's purpose. And we can then learn to, this is so incredible how easy it is to say, but it's so difficult to do. We're just able to purge all the junk and really travel with the most light and efficient energy that's possible. It's almost like getting rid of an old. I'll use this example again. An old combustion engine. It requires all this fuel and all this you know uh, pollution in order for it to run. And it can only run so efficient because of the way it's built and how it's fueled. And, it's so, now we're talking about an unearthly vehicle that is made by an alien on another star system or in another galaxy, and it doesn't require any earthly resource to run. It is an intelligent engine. So not only is it not bad for the environment, but it is highly efficient, and it is beyond the understanding of our minds. So when we get into this alien energy, and I refer to this as alien energy, it is boundless in its ability to generate uh, to generate a wise life, to generate a wisdom, an intelligence in us that cannot be um, it cannot come from our minds. So I just want to make that really clear that this perspective it oh my gosh, this just lights me up. It's just I can feel my blood starting to warm. It just is it is a whole other world. It is access to a whole other idea of life. And it takes away all of the bullshit. It takes away all of the mess, the chaos, the it clears away the old energy, which is again what holds all the pain and the anguish and the disappointment in our lives that we carry and collect, and that's what weighs us down. Talked about this before. So it doesn't allow any of that anymore, because this new energy, this clean running energy, does not have the capacity to carry junk. So it gets rid of all of it. It's pushed out of the portal and out into outer space, and it's gone. So it not only clears your energy and clears your energetic signature, and this is so important. Your energetic signature is something that you can't hide from the universe. So when you want abundance in your life, when you want love, when you want uh, to be the person you want to be, you can wish for that. You can make an effort for that in your life by working, by studying, by work, proving yourself at a job, by getting promotions and becoming the boss, and by having this incredible empire. Whatever you want to create with your mind and hands, you can do that, but it's not going to get you what you want. It doesn't. It'll get you physically what you want. You'll get to work really hard to gain the material things that you want, but at the end of each day you will go to bed lonely because you don't understand where true abundance comes from. And when you have the heart for abundance, or the energy signature, the energetic signature for abundance, then the universe sends it to you. It is a magnetic thing. It's not something that you can think your way to or make an effort towards in your life. Now, effort, along with this energetic alignment with what's abundant for you, what abundance means to you, sure, that's the sweet spot. That's the combination that creates it in life. But it's not about action, and it's not about effort. It's about conscientious or conscious action and effort. So, when you're just building something for this, hoping you can make it taller than everything else, or that you can have more money than your neighbor, or you can, this is true with everything. You look better. Your effort is in your physique and the way you look, the way you appear, or you curate your image, which is it's something that's easy to do these days with the internet. You're doing something to appear a certain way, but it's not who you are internally. So your energetic signature only reflects who you really are. So when you want abundance in your life and you're not energetically aligned with that, it doesn't come. And you may get glimpses of it, or you may get tastes of it, but it doesn't come. It it it's magnetic. So if you put a magnet to aluminum, it doesn't stick because it's not magnetically um, uh, aligned to it. It's not created to stick to a magnet. It's created to actually not stick to a magnet. So it is an opposite. It's an opposing energy. So if you want the magnetic universe to bring you the things that are meant for you in an abundant energy state, then you have to become internally abundant. You have to align with it. It's the same thing. It's a magnetic connection. So it's the same thing with the people in our lives. If we are not magnetically inclined, meaning we don't have the same energetic frequency, we are not going to meld or jive, or whatever you want to put it. And we try really hard to jive with people who we're not energetically aligned to, and it just in the long run doesn't work. And yeah, we learn lessons, so it's not for nothing. I don't want to put that out there. The reason we have relationships is to learn. So there's no mistakes there. There are no relationships that we weren't meant to have. We were meant to have the ones we have. So, when our energetic signature is not in alignment with the abundance that's due to us in our life, then it doesn't come. So it doesn't matter how much we force it, or how much we pretend, or we fake it till we make it. It doesn't ultimately work, because your energy cannot be hidden from the universe. So if you go out into the world with a smile on your face, and you work really hard, and you compromise at work, and you compromise in your relationships, or you shrink in order to fit in, or you change who you are to be accepted, or you constrict yourself, or you don't express yourself, or you're not creative in the ways that are meant for you to be creative, you are you're I don't know what the right word is, but you're demagnetizing your energy. You are creating a false alignment with the universe. And you're not doing it because you think it's the way to do it. It's the only way we know to do it. So I'm just telling you that that's not the way to do it. So, and I can tell you from my own experience that, abundance is something that we feel. It is not something that we can um, gain in an external world. And honestly, nothing we gain in the external world is going to truly be joyful until we have this internal abundance. And what is internal abundance? It is an appreciation, acceptance. It is a connection to, an embracement of our energetic selves, our soul. And for me, the only way to get there was to let go of my ego, to let the ego die. It is through the death of the ego that we become acquainted with our true selves. I wish there was another way. And if there is, please educate me. But I'm seeing, through this American Indian practice of this exposure to the elements. I wish I would have gotten the name of what it is. This exposure to the elements, and this withholding of food and water in order for you to come close to death, as the only way for us to really let go of our minds and what we think we can control. So when you think of it that way, that dramatic and drastic measure that's taken in order to peel away human element this human element that wants to control, that wants to know, and wants to um, It needs to understand but what's happening is it can't understand what's happening in our energy. What the soul is not, it's not conceptually um, accessible to the mind. It just isn't. And we can think it is, and we can have our ideas, and we can believe certain things, and we can share information, sure. But until we experience this ego death, we don't really understand what I'm talking about. Because this whole other self, or this animating self, this soul, is from another world. It is an alien, quite literally. We are all from other galaxies. I mean, if you think about birth, we are an intelligence, or a light being, however you want to refer to it, coming into uh, a womb of a mother, and we are growing as a human being. I mean, where do you think that energy comes from? It's not from from a store on Earth where you can go pick a soul and say, "Here, I want this one." I'm not trying to be funny, but maybe it is a little funny. But what I mean is, it comes from the universe. Our souls come from the universe. And what is in the universe? Planets and stars and galaxies. And it's pretty simple when you think about it. And this is why I talk about aliens so casually, because we're all aliens. And when I talk about humanity as being the same, it's the same. That's what I mean. We're all from somewhere else. We're all immigrants in this world. So when we think of immigrants in the United States as interlopers, or people who are impeding in our way of life, and who are taking from us what's rightfully ours, it's just such fucking bullshit. It's so stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I know if you're listening to this and you feel this way, I'm pretty sure nobody listening to this does, but it's stupid. It is stupid. We are all immigrants from the universe. And do you really think that God, or whoever you think of as the governing, energy of life, wants us to hate each other because we're different? What do you think diversity is for? It's for learning different things and for us to embrace each other. My gosh. This is an infuriating part of living in this world when you have such a different ideal. We are all the same. We are energy, and yeah, we're aliens too. We all are. So when we look upon somebody who's different as an enemy, we are missing the point. We are here to love each other. It's only through love that we can really create and have the world that is a reflection of our souls, and not of our human minds and our fears. If we want this world to be beautiful and abundant for everyone, I'm talking about technology from other star systems. I'm talking about not raping the earth anymore. I'm talking about conserving her resources and loving her, and honoring her by living on her and not decimating her. And I'm talking about appreciating each other's differences in culture so we can learn and build a creative, beautiful world that we all get to enjoy. And by the way, in this world, there's no poverty. Nobody is lacking, because there's enough for everyone. Energy is free. Information is free. The internet is free. Water is free. Air is free. Heat is free. You know what I'm talking about? This is the world that we can be living in right now. But we are not living in it because we fear everyone and everything else that isn't like us. So we're missing this opportunity every day of our lives to have this community of humanity, that we all get to live our best lives, not just the wealthy or the ones who have the resources or control the resources. We are all wealthy in this new world. So my point is that we're all aliens. And until we embrace that truth, we are going to struggle. And in that struggle, we suffer. We all suffer. And when we suffer as an individual, we project that suffering onto others, and we become bullies in this world. We become destroyers, and we're doing it from a place of pain, yes, but we're still destroying. We're destroying each other. We're destroying the earth. We're destroying humanity. We're destroying love, which is what we're made of. So, that energetic signature, if it isn't screaming out love, then the universe cannot hear it. The universe just keeps sending more space junk because that's what your energy is calling out for when we are in this, the facade that we make for the rest of the world and ourselves to appear a certain way, and we don't clean the garbage out of our own bodies, energy. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but we are junk collectors. And until we can purge the junk we've collected out of our bodies, out of our hearts, and we can open ourselves to who we truly are, which is this infinite light being of love, we are trapped in this vortex of chaos that is quite literally draining the earth of all of her life. And we're leaving this world for our children in this chaotic, we're leaving our children this injured world. And they'll fix it because they are coming in droves. These elevated beings are coming in droves to this world in order to change everything. My beautiful daughter is having a child who is coming to do that. My daughter is doing that. I'm lucky enough to be on the tail end of this life and able to do my part. It's late for me, but at least I get my chance to try to make a difference. And if we only identify with our external selves and this external world and its finite resources is the only way for us to fuel this life, we're going to just drive it into the ground. And I don't want to take a soapbox stance every time I get on this microphone, but it's just so clear to me how we devastate ourselves, each other in this world because of the pain that we carry and the pain that we identify with. And until we allow ourselves to break that away, to purge that, until we focus our intention on doing that, and that's what it takes is our intention, our conscious intention, to really say, I want the universe to help me purge the pain and the anguish in my body so I can become a steward of love in this world. I can become a light being in this world. I can help usher out the dark heaviness of the three-dimensional energy, and I can usher in the lightness of the 4 and the 5D energy. That's how we elevate ourselves in this world. And whether you believe me or not, this earth is its own intelligence. She has her own intelligence, and she is elevating. And unless we elevate with her, you think you're suffering now? What you're doing is you're trapping yourself in a purgatory. And it's self-imposed. Just remember that part. It's self-imposed. And until we allow ourselves to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, who am I really? And am this person I cultivated, or am I something else entirely? And start to surround yourself with the energy of the people who you feel drawn to because they're living the lives that you want to live. You surround yourself with that energy and you start to become that energy. It's just how it works. It's magnetic. So I'm not saying you need to get up tomorrow morning and change the world, but maybe if you're inclined, you start thinking about what you can do differently today to usher in this intelligence that's already within you. We just got to get all the junk off it so we can access it. It can become who we are. And I was just marveling at how how wide this perspective is. I mean, I feel like I'm standing on another planet looking down on the earth, and I can see not just my life and the difference between my humanity and my spiritual self, but I can see the whole world that way now. This vast perspective is it's where wisdom comes from. It is where genius comes from. It is where it's where we're able to become what we're meant to become, what our souls came here to become. And I'm not saying everybody's meant to be, you know, Nikolai Tesla or Tesla. Is it Nikolai or Nicholas? Nikolai. It's we're not all meant to be Tesla. Where whether you know about this man or not, he created free energy for the world, and it never transpired because of other forces. But Einstein and all these other thought leaders or inventors or aliens, I mean, they got these ideas not from their brains. They come from the universe. And when you are a being able to accept this wisdom, if you're in an energetic place in your human body where you can accept wisdom from the universe, it's given to you. And you're able to create and invent and change everything. So you're not only limiting your ability to help usher a new world in by living in this functional coma, but you are negating your own ability for greatness. I mean, what could you invent if the universe said, "Hey, so and so is ready for a grand idea. They are cleared of their emotional and energetic garbage. They are now a vessel of universal knowledge, and they can bring this into the world uh, through their creativity or their conscientious or inspired action." That's how it works. The universe works through those who are open and ready and able to receive. So when we go through our life just making effort to create a life that will bring us happiness, of course we end up exhausted and we never get to enjoy it. But we also never get to position ourselves to become who our soul intends to be. I just did a reading for myself this morning. My daughter gave me a beautiful oracle deck. And I didn't know anything about reading myself as a tarot. I'm not a tarot reader. I have no idea. And I understand now what tarot is. It is using your intuition to read these symbols from the universe, from your spirit family or your soul family, or those deities or gods or archangels or aliens who want to speak to us, or ancestors or spirit guides, whomever. And I did a reading. I do one every Sunday morning as just kind of a way to stay in touch with what's going on in my life energetically and from the universe. And one of the cards was the void. It's basically being comfortable in this winter or this dormancy, in this waiting period, this in between period, and to trust the universe is bringing to me what is meant for me. And that whether it's abundance or ideas or inventions or whatever it is, or soulmates, I am just to trust. And that this void is the womb of the cosmos. It is where faith comes from. So it is this comfort with the unknown that I'm meant to cultivate, that I have been cultivating over the last several months, where I allow my brain to say, I allow my brain to go sit down and take a break because it doesn't have a place right now in what I'm doing. And yeah, it takes a little while, I'm not going to lie, because the conditioning of my life, all, 59 years has been produce, make effort, contort, compromise, go without in an effort to try to gain. It makes no sense. But I'm being encouraged to just enjoy this womb of the universe, this void, because I'm meant to blaze a new trail and I don't know where that's going because nobody's ever been there. right? That's what trailblazing is. You're not going somewhere where there's a path. You're the path maker. So getting a comfortability with that, not understanding where you're going or where you're going to be taken, is really the key. Along with this perspective of seeing things as they are, the grand perspective, without this lens of that skews everything. And it only allows us to see what our energetic signature wants to see, because that's all I can take. That's all I have the capacity to understand, is if it matches my pain and my anguish and my disappointment and my failure, then I can relate to it. So that's what I see when I look at the world, is more opportunity for all of those things. That's why that love relationship, it can't manifest, because the energy is not in tune to it. It's not magnetic to it. It's not calling to it. It's calling to you relationships that reflect who you are right now. And it's not the universe beating the shit out of you. And you can look at it that way. And of course, your lens will tell you that's what's happening. And you blame the world, you blame your boss, you blame your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. But what the universe is doing by beating the shit out of you is trying to open your heart. It's trying to bring you the situational relationships, or the situationships, as one of the tarot readers calls it. I love her. Situationships that bring this out in us, that reflect this deficit inside of us. And when we are given these opportunities to learn, and they are opportunities, yeah, they can be painful, but they're opportunities. And when we actually choose to learn instead of blame, that's when we get to check that box. That's when our heart starts to open to the possibility of our own energy being the engine for joy in our lives. Think about that. Our willingness to learn our lessons, to learn the lessons that mirror our deepest beliefs about ourselves, or our deepest energetic frequency. The universe is sending you these relationships and these situations to teach you to overcome that, so you can open your heart. And when your heart starts to open, it's like a flower. It has to open. It doesn't go back. It's almost like you can't close it now. And you conscientiously or consciously ask for these situations to come into your life, so you can continue to purge. You purge this belief system. You purge this ideal of yourself. You purge the expectation that you're going to be hurt in life. You purge the expectation that you have to shrink yourself. You purge the expectation that you're going to be injured. That's what letting the ego die means. Your ego is your soul's conditioning, manifested. And it only wants what it understands. It cannot conceive of the power of your soul. This brings tears to my eyes. We are living this superficial life because we don't understand how amazingly deep we are. It's mind-blowing. So when you can start to do the things that change that energetic signature, the one you cannot hide from the universe, is when the universe starts to notice you and says, "Oh, so and so is ready for some blessings. Look at the work she or he has done to open their heart." And with that open heart, that's the portal that it comes through. It's so exciting. I'm so excited to share this with you. The heart is the portal where love comes in and goes out. I talked about this in my last podcast. The human heart is the portal to our evolution because love is what elevates us. The human heart is the portal to our elevation because that's where love comes from and goes into. So if you didn't hear anything, hear that. So when we don't love in this life, we're not only not living our best life, but we are discounting the purpose of this life and discounting our innate power to live in an abundant life, to live in an abundant world, to live in an abundant universe. Love is why we're here. And and I know we have to learn before we get there. And sometimes we don't get to learn in this lifetime. We learn in the next or the next one after that, or God knows when. But your inclination to learn is a pretty good sign that you're meant to learn. Otherwise, your soul would be on a whole different wavelength. So I got to think that if you're listening to me now, still after nearly an hour, that you might have an inclination to find this within yourself and to really embrace the real you, not the temporary you, which is a physical body that will die in this time, whatever time frame we're given, but the infinite soul that leaves the body and goes on to the next life. That's who we are. So if we only identify with the shell, you know what I mean? What do we have to look forward to? Just death. You know, it's so simple, conceptually so simple. Open your heart, let love in, let love out, receive the abundance of the universe and all the gifts and powers that are meant for you. It sounds so easy, but it's meant to be difficult. Otherwise, there'd be no purpose for this human incarnation. We're meant to struggle to a point. But then, if we're very, very lucky, and if our soul is ready, we are led to this awakening. And trust me, you are led. Your brain is not deciding anything. Your soul tells you when you're ready. And your soul will set up the circumstances for you to prepare. And make no mistake, every relationship that challenges you, your beliefs, every situation, every boss, every child, every job, every thing in this world is meant to challenge you and push you to your highest energetic self. And we're pushed by this challenge to our what we believe about ourselves. And a lot of us get really comfortable in that belief because it shields us from having to be responsible for ourselves. And let me just clue you in on the second part of how to be happy in this life. Perspective is the first thing, is seeing what's actually there. And the other one is self-accountability. And if you peel that a layer lower, it's self-love. And if you peel that a layer lower, it's unconditional love. Unconditional love is the key to happiness because then nothing fucks with you. Nothing bothers you because love is who you are, and you understand that this world is meant to throw spears at you and you no longer get pierced. Do you know what I'm saying? Not only can you see them coming a mile away, you just like the Matrix, you just bend backwards a little bit and it flies right over you. They don't You don't even miss them anymore. They don't come at you anymore. The universe doesn't send them anymore because you've already learned. So your life becomes this wealth of abundance. And I'm talking every kind of abundance, not just the ethereal kind or the difficult to the intangible things. I'm talking about, which those are the most important, don't get me wrong. That is your well-being, that is your emotional and energetic health, that is your self-love, that is your love of this earth and the universe. These are the intangibles. They're really all that matter. But on top of that, we get to cultivate or call into our lives material abundance, money, success, love, affairs with the people who are meant for us, that energetic match. This soulmate that's coming to me in this lifetime is my energetic match. But we both had to get aligned with that. So, this healing that I've gone through, this spiritual awakening, or this whatever you want to call it, is what's prepared me to come into union with him. And it's preparing me to do what I'm meant to do in this world, what my soul is meant to do. And I have a dual purpose. I'm meant to personally evolve. That's what my soul wants to do. And that's what I'm doing every day. It's never done. And I also have a mission to help this earth elevate because she's elevating whether we like it or not. And to help humanity get in line with that. Uh, so, it's so interesting how these podcasts go off onto their own. Anyway, so let me leave you with this. I'm trying not to make these more than an hour. Let me just let me leave you with this thought that if you let go of everything that you've been taught to hang on to, if you just let it go, effort, the mask. I mean, the mask. My God, the mask. This ideal of ourselves that we know isn't true. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right to let it go. We want to learn the truth about it, who we are. And we're scared and we are full of pain. We're riddled with pain. Feel it. Embrace who you are right now. Love that person. And then start to really look at who that person is in love and in compassion and acceptance. I don't mean when you're thinner or smarter or more successful. Right now, let the true person, the true you be seen and accepted and loved unconditionally. That is the first step. Is when we don't fear ourselves and we don't fear that look in the mirror. And we allow ourselves to be who we are for just a minute, to embrace all of the ugliness that's inside of us, the pain, and then start to dissect it with loving intention. To find who we truly are beneath this facade, beneath the pain, and really connect and embrace the true you, this beautiful light being. And then you become this radiance, this soul who understands energetically why they're here and what they're here to do, and who can live this life from a place of absolute wisdom and knowing and comfort in this dormancy or this unknown, the space between worlds where we have to go in order to go to the new world. We have to go through this tunnel. Just know that You are loved infinitely by this universe, and you are supported by so many light beings, and you are not alone. And that fear is something we should starve. And what we should feed is our love, our self love, until the fear is gone because it has nothing to feed on anymore. Thank you for listening and allowing me this space. I wish you peace. I wish you love. Thank you.